This hangout is live, folks.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Doing a live, another kind of snowed in Dead Pit show, because we're still snowed in, aren't we, Uncle Bill?
Yeah, this is really, I think, more about us trying to not lose our sanity than it is about anything else. Like, it's been a damn week since I've been out of the house. I'm about ready to kill somebody, Jack Nicholson style.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's the weather's not going to be improving any either. Like, there's supposed to be, like Sarah was telling me something about, I think, Sunday or Monday or something like that. There's another damn fucking snowstorm supposed to hit. They're saying might be the same as the one that this past week.
God, I
holy
hope.
shit.
I really think I'd lose my mind if that happened.
Well, for one thing, I'm going to be run out of food if that's the damn case, because holy shit, I have to eat some fucking macaroni and cheese or something.
Yeah, I mean, I know tomorrow it's supposed to be like -16 is the low, and I think the high is like 2.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pure hell. I mean, it's not going to melt anything at all, I'm sure.
No. It's going to be rough. We're in for, we got a rough go of it, boss. That's all I'm going to say.
The only thing I've heard is like Saturday, it's supposed to be like 38, between 38 and 40. So that would be the only day you'd probably be able to get out, I'd say.
Yeah. So I'm inviting a couple more people here. What we're going to do is, I didn't know for sure we were doing this because I didn't tell anybody about it. Like you were telling me you want to do something, and then what I did was I ended up going to sleep for a little while.
I knew it had to be something.
And when I woke up, I was thinking, he's probably forgot about it or something. I guess we ain't going to do anything. So, yeah.
Hell no, I ain't forgot about it.
Huh?
I said I ain't forgot about it because I ain't got nothing else to do. It's like, there ain't nothing to fucking like, I mean, no.
Yeah. So I want to invite some of the WrestleManiacs guys. I don't even know if they're online. I ain't told them anything about it. So if they show up at some point, we'll get their opinions on it too. But we're going to talk about mainly,
Look at that.
I heard that bitch was wanted.
Well, that's not Elsa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just random Disney
shit I got laying around in here.
Disney princess shit from Uncle Bill's collection.
That's from my Disney starter collection.
You know, yeah, I mean, that's bullshit, Uncle Bill. I mean, look, hang on a second. I got some manly shit sitting around here. Hang on.
Oh, fuck.
You got your goddamn fucking Disney bullshit. And look here where I roll, motherfucker. I got some Mel McDaniel on vinyl. I'm getting ready to spin it a little later. Yeah, this is the one. This has got Baby's Got Her Blue Jeans on it.
Baby's got her blue jeans on.
Gonna remember the late great Mel McDaniel later tonight.
Is he dead?
He's like one of those guys like that died and nobody knew about it until about 3 or 4 years after the fact that he died.
I actually think that he wasn't bad. He wasn't a bad artist, really.
Hell no.
That era.
He had let's see, Baby's Got Her Blue Jeans on, Louisiana Saturday Night.
Yeah.
He had what was that one song I like? Shoestring or something like that. Shoestring, you ain't got no money.
I don't remember that one.
And see,
the other one's
Big Old Brew, that was another one. My big old brew, and a little old you. That's what I want, boy. Big old brew and little old you.
Big old you. Little old you. Oh, God. Good times, bulls.
Yeah, good times. But, thankfully for the Dead Pit faithful, we are doing another show. And who knows? Hey, we could be doing another show in another day or two, too, if we're still snowed in and bored.
I swear to God, like
something else to talk about.
it's a possibility because I'm getting ready to, like I said, lose my mind at some point.
Yeah. So,
But I
one
guess
thing,
we're,
huh?
I said, I guess we're anxiously awaiting somebody else, huh? To,
I don't know. I don't think anybody's looked at that message yet, but there's a couple things we can talk about. One that I know you checked out, that we didn't get to talk about that much. It was, you can look it up here on YouTube. Vince Russo has his own YouTube thing, which I was kind of like, I guess it's going that, the wrestlers have their podcasts, and I think Vince Russo even has his own podcast too. But he does this, this YouTube video show, and he had China on there, of all people, um, making a statement regarding all the bullshit that Triple H said about her.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was like, because I'd not heard anything from China in a while, and I didn't know what had happened or whatever. Because for a while there, you heard all this shit about her dressing up like the fucking She-Hulk and getting butt fucked and like getting fucked by Mean Gene in the ring and all this shit, like in porn parodies and stuff. And that was like the last thing, some of the last like stuff that I'd ever seen from her. And that's been, as she said in the interview, it had been like 3 years ago
yeah.
that because she'd left the United States and moved to Japan to become an English teacher over there, which is, that just sounds bizarre as hell. But it's a very interesting listen in a way. I mean, you can say what you want to about China. She's definitely had her share of substance abuse problems and stuff like that over the years. But it's, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. It's about an hour and a half long interview they did with her.
Yeah, it's really, really good too. And a couple of things that like I was thinking about. Number one, I can't stand fucking hear Vince Russo. Like I just fucking just he's constantly trying to like a couple things that he does that drives me nuts. He's constantly trying to set up like bits. Like he keeps interrupting her and trying to set up something and talk and stuff, and like she's trying to talk. I can't stand his voice for one thing, but I also can't stand that he does that. And like he does that throughout the whole entire thing. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, he is
But
kind of annoying.
he really is. Like he's one of those people that just he always wants you to know that like he's a really nice guy, and he's always trying to put that out there. But you can
Right.
tell that he's probably not. Like, and he always says shit to her too. Like, now I don't want you to fucking talk about anything that you don't want to talk about. I'm not that kind of guy. And then he proceeds to like kind of go around and ask questions that he knows is probably gonna make her uncomfortable. But anyway, like other than that, like what she's saying, like I actually do believe her. Like I don't know why, but a lot of the things that she's saying make sense. Like she talks about the fact that number one, she was the last person to know that Triple H was seeing Stephanie, which I believe that. Number two, that everybody treated her like shit after they found out, which I believe that, because I'm sure like they didn't want to fuck with her knowing that like Stephanie probably had them fired. The other thing though was that she went to all them and kind of like tried to talk to them about it, and they all kind of blew her off and ended up firing her, which I believe all that too. And mostly though that they ruined her career, which they really did, because they kind of like blackballed her and also made it impossible. Because one thing WWE does, and I've known they've done this for a long time, they get the rights to your name and then completely fucking will sue your ass off if you try to use it like outside of WWE, WWF, I
Yeah.
guess then. But
Well, what they do now too is, even if you're like semi-established already, you got a name semi-established. No, they're gonna fucking change your name to something else that they can copyright. Unless you sign. I mean, unless you sign your name over or something like that. Like I'm pretty sure everybody like Kenta from that come over from I think New Japan or whatever, they made him change his name already, and he was kind of already an established. His name was already established, probably not in the United States, but they didn't want to use his actual name. Um,
yeah,
So it's all the money making scheme with them. I mean, they copyright every damn thing. So
Now, here's the only thing I'm not sure on, though. Like, I can kind of believe all of that stuff from the way that she told it. I'm not sure if, like, the part about him hitting her and all that stuff, I'm not sure about. Because she doesn't really talk about that much in that interview. Like, she says it, but she doesn't really explain how that came about. And maybe she did that in some other interview or something like that.
no, I
But
think that's new. Like that had never come out before. I don't think.
I mean, but she just kind of says it. She doesn't tell the story of like how that happened or anything.
Hunter just actually smacked the fuck out of me, and he was abusive, and I was going to try to smack him around with my oversized clit, but he wouldn't allow that, and they kind of blackballed me, so I had to get butt fucked and stuff in pornos.
I swear to God, that sounds exactly like her. Like when she first started talking and that, when she was like, "Hey, you guys," I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Yeah, that's some like male hormones or whatever the hell she was taking. It changes her damn voice.
But it's like, oh, hey, Vince, how are you? Fuck you.
I don't believe for a second either that the only thing she was taking throughout that period was alcohol. Like she says she only drank. I know that's bullshit, man. Like she was so fucked up like half the time when she do interviews and stuff. I mean, there's no way.
You know what though, man? Like the more I think about that though, like the way that just that came about, like
They fucked her over, man.
They
really
did. Like, and I think a lot of people probably would have fucking killed themselves or something had that happened. So, you know, whatever she's done. I mean, you know, the porn and everything else. Like at the same time, like you should have enough. Like they were saying there, all Triple H had to say was never say never, you know, and not elaborate on it or anything, because most of the stuff probably happened to her, definitely happened to her, because of, you know, what they did at the end of the day. I mean, I think
that's
at that
what
time,
I mean, man. I mean, they pushed her into like they took away any opportunity that she had to actually work, and she talks about that, and I actually believe that because that sounds like something that they would do. Like they would do things like they would say, okay, if you get China on your show, then you'll never get like any of the other WWE talent on your show, and if you use her name, then you have to pay us like so much money. Who the fuck is gonna want to do that? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
They took away any chance she had to make a living, and then she did porn, and then they basically treat her like shit because she did the thing that they forced her into doing. I mean, she didn't have anything else to fucking do really. Like at
And
that time.
I think that's why she left. I mean, you know, because everybody knew, I guess, about that porn stuff, and she couldn't really get work.
Yeah.
So.
But it's like you take away like somebody's options, and that's the only option they have left, and then you criticize them for doing that.
Yeah.
That is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, you know, at the very least, I think that if you're doing something, you know, like Triple H is doing he did this Stone Cold podcast, and they're breaking character there, breaking kayfabe, whatever you wanna call it. At the end of the day, he could have said, the situation is what it is. You know, her career, obviously, she should be in the Hall of Fame. But everyone knows the situation. It's just a difficult situation. That's all he would have had to say it. And it probably would have been way less offensive to, hey, little 8-year-old Jimmy, type in China and you can see her getting ass raped online as She-Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, that whole idea is kind of fucking stupid anyway. That's the reason to keep, because Vince Russo makes a good point. He says in the beginning of it, he said, all right, do you really want to get into a background check about all the people that are in the fucking WWE Hall of Fame? Because I'm fairly certain that there's people in there that have murdered people and shit. I know
Superfly.
I mean, it's crazy. Like drug abuse. Fucking Scott Hall murdered somebody, and like you got a bunch of people in there. Superfly murdered somebody.
You've got Mike Tyson raped a bitch and went to jail for it.
So yeah, the idea like if that Googling China's name is going to somehow like freak people out when you got murderers and rapists and shit, that is kind of stupid.
That's true.
I guess
heard. That reminded me though, like I'd heard, I think last year, that they were reopening the case against Jimmy Snuka, that whole thing where his girlfriend died, and all that. So I don't know if anything else become of that, but you know, it's just very hypocritical in a lot of ways. And man, like for me personally, like had I done something like that to somebody and they had such a downward spiral, I mean, 15 years later, whatever the case is, to continue to bash that person, like that's just fucked up.
it really is. I mean, I guess I didn't realize because she just kind of disappeared, and the funny thing about it is she never really caused a big fuss about all that shit either. Like she just kind of fucking was gone, and so people forgot about it. I didn't realize until that interview like how much that they really fucked her over, and like how far her career kind of just completely disappeared because of all that stuff too.
Yeah, I mean,
And
for those, yeah, go ahead.
I'll guarantee you that happened the way that she said about the whole idea of Triple H not telling her either. Like I'll bet you anything it did, because I can see like somebody doing that, just being like, I don't have the balls or the heart or whatever to tell her that I've got this going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bad situation. I mean, I couldn't imagine like how, like I was saying, a lot of people probably would have just fucking killed themselves after that. You know, I mean, basically you take the ability of, their livelihood from them. Not even to mention that this person that you've been dating for, I don't know how many years they've been seeing each other or whatever and living together and all that. And then on top of that, the the employer's daughter or whatever is the one that he's fucking, and that causes her to be released.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if it was just a relationship. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, that's not anything. But like the idea of then the relationship costs you your job and your career and anything else that you could really do in the future. You've lost everything at like one time. It's kind of fucking crazy to think about. But she did.
It really is. But if anybody is interested, you can check that out. Just search for Vince Russo. I'm not sure you can search for his YouTube page, and it's very, very interesting, I think. I just kind of stumbled across it last night and ended up watching most of it last night and a little bit of it today. So you can check that out. But, this particular show, what we're going to do, and I don't know, I just messaged people to be on. I don't know if anybody else is going to join us or not. If not, they can come in. But we're going to talk about the upcoming WWE Fastlane show, which I don't know how much treatment we should be giving this, really, just because it's a thrown together show, really. I mean, it's like a one-match deal. The only thing, without looking, I'm going to go to the Wikipedia page here in a second. Without looking, I know like one match on this damn thing.
Well, there's only 5 matches. I was looking it up. There's only 5 set matches that anybody knows about right now.
Yeah.
3 days before the fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with you. Like, it just seems to be like completely thrown together. And that name, man, I cannot get over that name. That's fucking horrible. Like anything else at this point.
Yeah, it's the first time they used this last year, wasn't it? What was it? Elimination Chamber, I guess, last year.
Yeah, which actually would be better, I think. Really.
I think they're moving that though. I mean, let me look and make sure. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not doing away with it. I think it's. Let me check and make sure. Let's see. 2015. Elimination Chamber. You know what? They did do away with it. Yeah, they replaced Elimination Chamber, and there's not. Let's see, we've got all the other old pay-per-views up this year, but no Elimination Chamber. So,
See, I actually like that idea though of that pay-per-view. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, that leads me to think maybe there's going to be an Elimination Chamber at WrestleMania or something. I don't know though. Maybe not. Like the whole concept of Elimination Chamber was kind of like they used a lot of the wrestlers in it, right? How many wrestlers were in it? Like 6 or 7 or 8. So maybe not. Maybe they're just done with Elimination Chamber or something.
I don't know, man. Like there was
Yeah.
There's another pay-per-view too, though. Besides the Elimination Chamber that they don't do anymore. I can't fucking remember which one it was.
Bragging rights, they don't do that.
I don't do that one, but that one was never really that well established. I don't think either.
I still think they should do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania for some of the younger guys.
I do too. I think that's a good idea too. What is the gimmick for Fastlane? Do you know? Like what?
There's not a gimmick. It's just like a thrown together, just a generic fucking. I mean, there's nothing. There's no gimmick. I guess it's just they're on the fast lane to the road to WrestleMania. Oh, I'm gonna come in my pants.
I don't understand that at all. Like it just seems completely arbitrary. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no gimmick really to it. I mean, hell. Basically like another edition of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it seems like all the pay-per-views are kind of like that now. Like because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, man, one thing that they definitely need to do I think is a huge problem with some of these secondary pay-per-views is like they need to make them, and I think that was one thing that they started to do. As we have the legendary Pizzal is joining us on here. Bulls, what's going on? I think he's waiting for stuff to load, but
Load your shit
load that shit
now, right now.
But what I was going to say is they need to differentiate all these shows in some way. I don't know if you remember when WCW used to have like Road Wild and sometimes Bash the Beach outside, and just to give it a different atmosphere. It's like, oh yeah, it's Bash the Beach, that's cool. Just do something to make it seem like it's something different than every episode of Monday Night Raw you're seeing. I think with Fastlane,
bring back Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal.
That'd be good. I'd totally be down for that. But I just think a lot of these shows just seem too much like an episode of Monday Night Raw, and Fastlane is going to be exact. I mean, I honestly think Fastlane is just going to be one of those shows. It's going to be a one-time show. Like, you remember that one pay-per-view they had a couple years ago called Fatal 4-Way or something like that? It was like a one-time show.
Yeah, but I can't figure out, man, where did it come from? Like, where the fuck did that idea even come from just to call it Fastlane and have it like, that doesn't even make any sense about anything.
It's because we're on the fast lane to Crappy Mania.
Yeah, but if it had a gimmick or something, but it didn't have a gimmick or anything.
You even notice, like a lot of the other pay-per-views too, they use the same set pretty much too. It's like it's the Raw and SmackDown set. Like they don't make them look. It doesn't look any different at all.
It's true. It's true.
It blows. That idea fucking blows.
I have very little hope for Fastlane. Very little hope.
Well, you probably shouldn't have any hope. Considering
if we wasn't like completely snowed in or anything, I'd probably be doing something else right now. But I'm bored off my ass, so
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Snowed in. Probably about an hour ago, my refrigerator exploded. Water went everywhere.
Holy shit!
So yeah, it's been a wild night for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Yeah.
When I hear we're going to have another another snowstorm later in the week or something like that too. I'm not sure what day, but I think my girlfriend was saying.
I wish you wouldn't say shit like that. I really do.
That's what I heard. I haven't watched the news or anything.
I've not heard about any new snow coming in. I know it's supposed to be like, below zero tonight and tomorrow, and even when it starts to warm up on like Friday, it's supposed to rain ice. That's supposed to turn from ice to just regular snow. So I mean, there's just no end in sight.
So
that's nice.
Wintry mix.
Nice wintry mix, exactly. Yeah.
A little fucking rain and ice. That's always good.
Why not, man? Why not? What are you guys been up to?
You're looking at it.
Been sitting on my ass ever since Monday, I guess. Monday morning.
No, seriously to God. Like, yeah, I mean, pretty much since it's been almost, 4 or 5 days now of just sitting here in this fucking house. And I'm really starting to understand the whole plot of The Shining at this point. Like, I'm almost ready to murder somebody. I think it could happen.
Yep, me too. I've been pretty much cooped up since Monday. So, yeah, cooped up, not left. Walked outside a couple of times to experience the snow, and then was like, okay, I've had enough. I'm going back in. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was like an adventure today, going and getting the last couple of days of mail. And that's as far as I've been out of the house, and shoveled a little bit of snow off my car yesterday just because I was afraid it was going to freeze on there.
That's what I got out and did today. Was I wiped? I mean, God, it was probably 8 inches of snow off my freaking car. So I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah. And I thought, I mean, honestly, like we were joking with Garrett and Freddie, who's up north, and I was like, God is paying us back. Because they're like, it was 68 degrees today, motherfucker.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw, we did a live commentary for My Bloody Valentine on the Sausage Factory with Paul Kelman, and I was talking, and he's from Canada, lives in Canada, and I was like, dude, it's freezing here, man. It's like 20 degrees, and he goes, you think 20 degrees is cold?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know who I fucking hate right now, though, is Adam Beck, because that motherfucker, every time something like this happens, he always posts, like, the forecast from Florida. Every single fucking time. It's always like 72 or something. He's like, oh, look at me. I live in fucking Florida. Why don't you blow me, Adam Beck? How about that? That'll warm you right up.
He's going to, he's got to deal with hurricanes. And it'll be that season shortly. So,
I just can't stand people that fucking do that. He's the worst. Like, he does it every time it's cold. Like, every time that he knows that it's cold up in the Northeast, he posts the fucking shit from Florida.
Oh, well, you know, he's got like Prestonsburg locked into his iPhone, so when he checks the weather, he checks on you guys to see how you're doing.
Just I guarantee he fucking does, yeah.
That sounds like him. Old Dick Joy.
I swear to God, I never met anybody. Anyway.
But, what we were talking about, though, is, Pissell, and I didn't even realize this, with Fastlane being added to the lineup, the Elimination Chamber is no more. I thought they were going to put it later on in the year, but evidently not.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
So
all the other old shows are back on. Yeah, they still have the Great Payback show for May 17th. That's I'll always look forward to Payback. And Battleground, especially, just because those shows have been so great over the years.
Yeah.
So many memorable matches. Yeah.
Yes. Impeccable pay-per-views, those. Yeah.
But no Elimination Chamber, which I'm surprised at.
I wonder why. I wonder if it's because people get injured or more prone to get injured in the Elimination Chamber, or what?
Yeah, or maybe it's just too expensive for them. I know they're cutting costs in a lot of ways because the network up until recently wasn't doing as well as they had hoped. So maybe they were just like, well, that's just too big of a cost to I'm sure like that's just a couple of trucks in itself is that big chamber to put together and shit. So maybe that's part of it too. Is it's just too much.
Well, I mean, put Zack Ryder to work. Zack Ryder, freaking Sin Cara, some of those guys backstage and aren't doing nothing. Have them put the thing together.
Yeah, they could do it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Woo woo woo, you know it.
They better be doing something soon, or they're not going to be employed much longer. Because y'all know, like right after WrestleMania, there's going to be at least 10 people cut. That happens every year.
Oh yeah, you can pretty much. Poor Zack Ryder's one of those. He's got the crosshairs right over his head. You know he's on that chopping block.
I was amazed he was in the fucking Royal Rumble. Like they must just run out of people like jobbers to put in there.
Well, that was his big return, and I was like, well, I didn't know, like, he was gone really. I just figured he was on Superstars or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you want to look at the match list for this shit? Because it is amazing. I mean, it's triumphant.
We definitely we got to look at the amazing match list for Fastlane because I'm looking forward to this show. Not really, but
no, you probably shouldn't.
I look forward to it about as much as I look forward to an episode of Monday Night Raw, and then 15, 20 minutes into Monday Night Raw, I'm like, okay, stay on my phone most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like let's see what's going on Facebook, and then you're like, oh, it's over.
It's the same. Like that's the problem. Is it's just the same people wrestling the same shit every week, and they end up wrestling on the damn pay-per-views too. So
one of my favorite things though that happened is, and I guess that it's simply out of the fact that they didn't have any fucking time at all to like build up a match or anything. But do you the feud between John Cena and Rusev, which basically came about from because he did an interview after the Royal Rumble, and Rusev interrupted him, and that was the feud.
That's all it takes, man. That's all it takes, man. That was the straw that broke the camel's back right there.
Like what?
Well, they got to do something with Rusev and Cena. So
they
got to do
nose to nose there, and we're like, oh, you pissed me off now, brother.
Yeah, but I mean, is that feud going to carry over to Mania? Does anybody particularly care about that feud?
That's what they said, man. Like the speculation that I was been reading about is that he won't, like, Cena won't beat him at Fastlane, but he'll be the guy that beats him at fucking Mania.
Yeah,
that's what people are saying is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it actually seems like a downgrade for Cena. And I mean, does anybody even? I mean, I know they continue to keep jamming it down our throats, but I think most people have probably forgot. Oh, that's right, he's got some kind of streak going. Oh yeah, okay, whatever. Just show us Lana. Get out of the way and show us Lana.
Yeah, at this point, I don't even fucking think that's even considered a big deal anymore or anything.
No, I don't think it has been.
But technically, yeah, I mean, he does still have that going, and I know that's what they're building up to, is that fucking WrestleMania John Cena, because John Cena, if he does anything, it's conquer the odds. I think we all know that. He overcomes.
That's kind of his thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that there'll be some sort of DQ or something, here, and then that'll carry over to Mania. But I mean, that seems almost like a downgrade for Cena. But hey, whatever.
That to me is fucking sad because everybody knows that match is going to be a fucking DQ.
Yeah.
That goddamn pay-per-view, nobody's winning that match.
Yeah.
Like one way or the other. I don't know how, but it'll be a DQ.
Yeah. Let's just hope it doesn't exceed like the 10-minute mark. Let's just hope. Let's hope it doesn't go on and on.
Well, something's going to have to last a little while because there's only 5 matches on this damn thing.
Oh, God.
So far, I mean, they're going to throw together one more, I'm guaranteeing, before this shit actually hits, I'd say.
Right. Well, one that I'm kind of interested in just to see if they put the titles on these guys is the tag championship match with the Usos versus Kid and Cesaro, which they've been having. Haven't they been having matches on Raw like all the time? But I guess they haven't had the tag matches or the tag title matches.
Yeah, they've had tag matches, they've had individual matches, and I mean, from what I've heard, I don't know if they'll get them at Fastlane, but Cesaro and Kidd are going to get the titles probably at WrestleMania.
Cesaro is one of those guys that they just went back and forth with him. Like, I don't know what the deal was, but Vince, I don't know. I mean, everybody pretty much agrees he's one of the strongest guys in the fucking company, if not the strongest guy in the company, like overall. And they just could never really figure out what the hell to do with him. And then I think Vince just kind of got fucking frustrated with it, and now he's doing this shit. But I would almost guarantee they either win those titles at Fastlane or at least soon, because those are two guys that by themselves they don't have any fucking clue what to do with either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to do something with them as a tag team.
Well, and I think it could be a good launching point for Cesaro. For Cesaro as eventually a singles guy, that he's, I could see him breaking off and becoming, kind of what happened with Edge years ago. So I think hopefully it'll be a good launching point for Cesaro, because and we've talked about poor Cesaro, my God, on WrestleManiacs all the time, what they've done to him, and but yeah, I hope it's a launching pad for Cesaro.
I mean, I would think by now they'd realize that being Polish and strong is not the fucking thing that gets you over. Like, ask fucking Ivan Putski.
Well, and he was already over. He was over. Just he didn't really have to say a word. He was over. He just needed to swing people, and he was over.
Right.
He won. That Andre the Giant thing. He was over. He was way over. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, wait a minute. How I think it might be another case of wait a minute. We decide when you're over, not the fans. We decide. So we're going to just absolutely, burst your bubble and bury you alive. And then in a year or whenever, we decide that you're over.
I definitely think that was the case with this, because everybody wanted that face turn, and then it seemed like, no, they just went back. He's hardcore heel again.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand that. And they've done it many times over the years for some reason. Like they will not, when it's white hot, when the person could be white hot, they kind of just back down with them. And they did it with him after WrestleMania last year for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea why they do that, but they have such a trend of doing that. They wait until somebody's white hot when they should be elevating them and pushing them to the moon and cashing in, but instead they just take their legs right out from under them.
You could see that. There's been a million different examples of that. Zack Ryder was one of those guys. Kofi Kingston was one of those guys. Like, they seem to have this real fucking, I can see that too. Maybe they just have a disdain for people that they consider not paid their dues, or maybe they just don't fucking know what the hell they're doing. Could be either one.
I think they have no idea what the hell they're doing. And I think if they, I think if they go, well, wait a minute. We can't let this guy be more over than John Cena or, Roman Reigns. We can't let these guys be more over than these guys. So take them out. Take their legs out from under them. Take away whatever momentum they've got, I don't know. It's an excellent question. I surmised for the longest time that Cesaro must have just pissed somebody off backstage. He made an enemy out of somebody, and they've not taken kindly to it. And he could have. Vince made the comment. He's just too Swedish. We don't like. Maybe he's racist against Swedish people. I don't know.
Maybe he just, with the whole European gimmick, maybe they just don't like the European gimmick, you know what I mean? But fuck, they gave him the gimmick. Like, I don't know.
Well, and that was kind of, and he was doing things that people had not seen before, and like you were saying, CK, or I think, or no, it was you, Uncle Bill, that he's just pound for pound like the strongest guy there. He doesn't look like he's that strong, but when push comes to shove, he's crazy strong. So I mean, and that swing and the uppercuts, and I mean, he was just doing stuff that was really wowing people, and for some reason, I don't know.
It seems
It's a total mystery to me.
We were talking about, I think it was on the last WrestleManiacs show too, that WWE, they don't. It seems like they have like a one-track mind. If they want to push, like their idea right now is Roman Reigns. They're going to push Roman Reigns. He's the damn guy. Everybody else, unless it's something in some way directly associated with Roman Reigns or whatever, you're fucked. You're not going to get anything. Well, and this is another example of that. I mean, he's just. I mean, of course, Cesaro is way down the card now, but I think at WrestleMania, after that win at WrestleMania, he was one of the guys they should have pushed up to that main event level right away. But they didn't. And they could make it interesting right after WrestleMania, but they just want to make it as bland as possible after WrestleMania. Pay-per-views with fucking Kane and Big Show, which are still going on. Who wants to see that shit? I mean, no offense to those guys, but they've been there for a combined 40 fucking years in the ring.
I mean, why they're giving those guys those spots when they could be giving it to a Cesaro or to, I mean, anybody else, honestly. Why they're giving those guys those spots, I have no idea. Gosh, I was going to say something, but it escaped me. But yeah, nobody wants to see those two in those spots when you've got, guys like Bray Wyatt and Cesaro and, quality guys. But I remember what I was going to say, and you're absolutely right. They have the one-track mind where they put all their eggs in either the John Cena basket, or now we're in sort of the Roman Reigns era, and it's all going in the Roman Reigns era, basket, and everything else is just completely blurry peripherals, you know what I mean? And I mean, even Alberto Del Rio did an interview, and he talked about that very candidly. He said, if you're not their guy, or you're not somehow associated in a feud with that guy, you're just white noise in the background. You know what I mean? It's a very much a one-track mind. It's CM Punk too. It's like they don't look beyond what's directly in front of them, and beyond that, it's just a complete crapshoot. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, like just the way they promote the shows too, which it makes it really predictable over, the Roman Reigns. If you look on ads for anything, Roman Reigns is all over every fucking thing WWE right now. Mm-hmm. So where they're headed. I mean, I would be completely shocked if he didn't come out of WrestleMania as a champion this year. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that's not the case, but it's just so predictable.
Yeah, I'm still thinking that he's going to win it, but he's going to take such a beating that Seth Rollins will come out and cash in, and he'll walk away with it. And that will be, after the WrestleMania restart, that'll be the big feud going forward.
Well, that certainly makes sense as to why, nothing at all happened to Seth Rollins after his dick was out.
Well, they can't afford to do anything with him. They can't punish him. They can't take him on TV. They can't afford to.
Right, and obviously if they're pushing something like that, if they know that that's like the plan moving forward, they're not going to do shit. They're not going to fucking keep him off or anything, which would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, Roman Reigns could have went out and killed a family of 4, and they'd be like, we're not going to punish him. We won't punish him. So,
dude, okay. Here's the thing, though. So people wanted Roman Reigns at first. Right, I mean that's the general consensus. Like everybody kind of was behind Roman Reigns at one time, and then it became like the John Cena phenomenon, where he was too much of a face that didn't have enough skill, and yada yada yada. He was boring, and he really is fucking boring. Yes. But it became all that stuff, and then they turned against him, and then Philadelphia was the wrong fucking place to have that Royal Rumble. By the way,
yes.
So then that happens, which leads us to where we're at with this Fastlane shit, which is the #1 contenders match between him and help me out, I forgot the fucking guy. Hold on.
Brian.
Brian, yeah. Okay. So that which leads up to this. Now this is what I'm interested in to see like what happens with, because this whole pay-per-view is basically built around that idea, isn't it? Like that they're trying to somewhere or another win the fans back
Mm-hmm.
by this fucking match, and then whatever happens with it at WrestleMania. So I'm curious, like, what do you think? Either one of you.
The build up to whatever's going to happen has been so weird because they've both kind of taken on heel-like qualities, which, I mean, they've handled, face versus face matches in the past much, much better than they've handled this one. So, I mean, what I think they've really kind of done is they've made assholes out of both of them. What will happen probably is Roman Reigns will beat him clean, and they'll have that moment in the ring where they shake hands and they hug, and Daniel Bryan will raise his hand, and then they'll be pelted by everything that the audience has in their hands.
Yeah. I feel like
now,
that's
here's what's
true.
going to happen.
I really
Here's
feel
what
like
I'll tell you. This is going to happen, okay? Either Sheamus or Randy Orton is going to cost Daniel Bryan the match, and that'll set up their match for Mania.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some sort of screw job finish in that.
Yeah, I think it'll.
I don't know who would be worse at this point, though, Sheamus or Randy Orton. But I think either one of those guys.
I see it definitely being Sheamus. I see it being Sheamus.
Yeah. So
if it
that's
goes,
probably
if
what's
it goes,
going to happen.
Yeah, if it goes
That way
down
later
that
on
way,
down the
that'll
line,
be
they
the
can-
return of Sheamus.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, because they're already promoting the return of Sheamus anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fella.
Yeah. If they
And
bring back,
I'm down for Sheamus being a heel, man, as long as they make him a total badass again.
Yep.
I don't know if they can do that, but
I think though, okay, like here's the thing. I kind of I feel like that this pay-per-view is exactly what you were saying though, which is it's kind of like WWE saying we were right before, but we're going to give him another chance, but then we're going to show you that Roman Reigns actually deserves to be in this. So essentially, it's like they're trying to make Roman Reigns somehow or another palatable to the fans. I don't know how the fuck they're going to do that, but that seems to be what this is. Like, I don't think it matters what they do. Like, I don't think that guy. I think it's already like they've already fucked it up. Like, but they're gonna try to give him every opportunity to come out of this looking like he deserves to be in that match. Nothing will change, I don't think, but that seems to be the only thing I can think of. The only reason I can think of what they're doing, because I know they're not going to fucking change this around, man.
No. See that the only thing, the only reason I don't see it going the way that you said it was going to go, CK, is because I don't think they want any interference in the match. I think they want it clean, and I think they want that kind of ending where they hug and and Daniel Bryan goes, "This is the guy. This is the guy." I think Sheamus is definitely coming back in some way as a heel, but honestly, however they go about it, people are just not going to like freaking Roman Reigns. Bottom line, no matter how they go about it, he's just not going to be liked. He's not going to be cheered. I mean, that's the bottom line. Doesn't matter how they go about it.
No, I kind of agree with that. Did he just drop off the face of the earth?
He dropped off. We are still live, though, apparently. So I think he has a little while to join us back before it disconnects us, because so hopefully he'll join back. But yeah.
But no, I think that's true. Like, okay, like I don't think that they're going to try to put Brian over. I really don't think they're going to try to do that. The time to have done that would have been a long fucking time ago. And I don't think they're going to. I think that they'll. Like, I agree with you guys. They'll bring Sheamus back somehow. If he fucks that match up, though, wouldn't that just piss people off even more?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I like.
Yeah.
That's not what they want to do. They want to make it look like that Reigns is somehow or another like he beats him fair and square, and like he's the fucking guy, and like Daniel Bryan, I agree. Like he'll give him the fucking like he's the next savior and all this stuff. Like that has to be the way that they do it. There's no other way like they could try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems
Yeah.
like all the build up for this, that seems to be the only reason for this pay-per-view, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Like it's to show that.
It's to legitimize Reigns, to make people, and no matter how they do it, if Sheamus comes in and interferes, people are going to boo. They'll boo Reigns more than Sheamus probably, and I mean it'll just be more of, well, he got bought out by Sheamus, blah blah blah. He's still not legitimate, and if he wins legit, he's still going to be booed. So I mean, you're really picking. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So, what would be best for business would be for him to win clean. But that's still just gonna piss everybody off. Yeah. But that's their guy. That's their guy. So
he is. He's the chosen one,
mm-hmm.
and there can be only one. That's what we were saying. There can be only one.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre passed.
3 or 4.
Drew McIntyre passed the chosen one cup down to him. So.
Oh man.
That's funny though, because like remember when Drew McIntyre, they brought him in there, he was kind of green and everything, and then over the years, and they pushed him to the moon early on,
mm-hmm.
had him do a feud with Triple H even at one point and everything else. Over the years, once he got better and better, though, they kept using him less and less, and he was kind of a jobber.
That's another guy, man, that fits into that category. They just fucking buried him after a while. Yeah. Like, he got people really...
Man, like, I'll still, to this day, Drew McIntyre, like, even when he was, like, green, like he was saying, he was still awesome, I thought, and his music, he had the best damn theme music there for a long time. I don't know what band that was, but...
I mean, he's another one that they brought in and tried to make him instantly over, and I guess their idea of getting somebody over isn't like a slow build up. It's like they walk in and they have the belt the next day, and it's like, well, do the fans like him? No, okay, well, we're burying him.
Another example though of somebody that has kind of been in the same position for just I don't know how many years now, probably 5 years. Is Wade Barrett. Like, he's another one. I know he's had a lot of injuries and stuff too, but he's one of those guys that, like, they could have pushed to a main event numerous times, and they did briefly when he was, like, head of the Nexus and stuff like that, but after that, it's like he's mid-card now for life. There's no chance of you ever going up from that Intercontinental level.
Well, and I think it's because he is so injury prone. They don't have the faith, because we've seen guys do that before. If they have a couple of injuries, the company kind of seems to be wary of taking them to a certain status, and I think that's probably him. If he can stay healthy, maybe in the near future he can be at that status, at that level. But he's going to be an IC guy for in that hunt for a while, I think.
That shit brings the only other match that I know of, though, on this pay-per-view is the Barrett and Ambrose match.
Mm-hmm.
Which
we're joined by G Money, by the way. How's it going?
Yeah, G Money slipped in.
What is this now? I get home and I see a link to click.
Hey, it was one of those deals where we're snowed in, we're bored, and
that's pretty much all it is, yeah.
What do you guys got for snow, dude? We've got like 5 feet over here. What do you got?
It's like, I don't know, about a foot and a half.
Foot and a half. Which is, believe it or not, it's the most snow that I can remember since I was probably in grade school, believe it or not.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the most we've had, too. So ours is cleared up now. So you guys must be just getting the tail end of what we had.
Yeah, hopefully we're done, but I don't know. Uncle Bill was saying that the forecast, or no, CK was saying that the forecast for next week was calling for more snow. So, I mean, God knows.
It reminds me of, like, Rocky III predictions. Pain. It's like, that's all we're getting is fucking hammered.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ambrose and Barrett.
Yeah.
That's what we're on.
They'll put on a good match. I think they'll have a great match. I don't think it really matters who's got that title because the title's kind of meaningless. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that one's going to change hands or not. I think they'll have a great match, but whatever. I don't think Dean Ambrose needs the belt to ascend any higher, and the fact that it's on Wade Barrett doesn't seem to really be doing anything for him. So, I don't know. Be a good match.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to put a little bit more emphasis right now on the other championship belts, like the Intercontinental and the United States belt. You know, with Cena in that match too. So, yeah, I mean, I would give it to Ambrose just to change it up a little bit. I mean, those championships, you usually can't really remember who the hell's holding them. And Ambrose, he was what was he, the U.S. champion for a long freaking time.
It was like a year and a half or something.
Yeah, and he never did. He didn't even defend it for like 6 months or something.
Yeah. I think he defended it like once in a year and a half, once or twice in like a year and a half.
People don't really even remember him holding that, but he had that belt forever. So give him the IC belt. Hell, go ahead, fuck it.
Yeah, he'll win, I think. Barrett sucks with that title. He hasn't done anything. I feel like it was like starting to get good when Ziggler had it. They had the ladder match and stuff, and now when Barrett won, it was like it's a fucking waste.
Doesn't it seem like to you guys too that Barrett has gotten like extremely skinny?
He has.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, definitely has.
He must be doing some DDP yoga.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Like, cause I was watching him, I think it was on Raw, and I was like, holy shit! Like, he is like dropped all kinds of weight.
Yeah, when he first came back, I was like, damn, you know, he's really thin. Not that he was like super muscular before, but it's like, whoa, you know.
Somebody's gone to fucking Kurt Angle's post-steroid camp or something.
I think that's called hard alcohol. So
yeah. You talk about somebody that have no fucking idea what to do with, though. That would be him. Like, they haven't had any idea what to do with him for years.
Kurt Angle? He's in TNA.
Well, yeah, Kurt Angle too. Come to think of it.
Who, Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they were smart, I don't know. I would do maybe like a Nexus thing again. Just like think about all those guys where they are now. It would kind of be a pretty cool little unit now because a lot of them are established, pretty much. You got like Ryback and bring the primetime players in there. Heath Slater needs something to do. I mean, it'll give a bunch of guys something to do. Who else is it? Daniel Bryan could be in it.
Yeah, that'll get him right over.
Well, have you guys noticed and we're getting away off topic here, but have you guys noticed the Bray Wyatt vignettes where he's like building a coffin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, clearly they're building toward that, but I mean, does anybody really want to see that match? I mean, as much as we love Taker, do we really want to see that match? Because I mean, there's no way Taker's going to win that. It makes no sense for him to win that. And do we want to see him, you know, lose again? I mean, it'll be good for Wyatt, I guess, but I don't know.
I don't even. Yeah, like. Okay, so there's two different ways that could go. It either could go that would be like he would be trying to put him over, which he really doesn't fucking need, does he? Does he need to beat the Undertaker to get over? Like I don't think so.
He's another guy. He's another guy who I think was instantly over, and they cooled him down. He was over. They put him in this feud with Cena, but then they were like, wait a minute, maybe he's getting a little too over. The people are cheering him more than Cena, blah, blah, blah. So they kind of cooled him down, and that whole feud with Cena went nowhere, and it was awful. And I think he's another guy that they kind of threw the bucket of cold water on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't market him to 8-year-olds. That's the problem. That's not an 8-year-old gimmick.
You know what they should do, though? I would put the Wyatts back together at Mania, too. Because those guys, man, without each other...
I agree.
Without each other, like, or without like the other two guys, they're fucked without Bray Wyatt. I would think. I mean, eventually they're not going to have a thing for those guys to do. So they
But
need to get
don't
them
you
back
think
together.
though that's also like a natural thing that happens? You put together any faction of people, and like one guy is going to come out of it.
Yeah.
Like one guy is going to come out of it and be like the guy. That's just what happens.
I've never seen a faction just break up for no. I mean, they were just gone. When they came back, they were not together for no reason.
They could put Harper and Rowan back together and not and try and not have any link to Bray Wyatt. Just call them Harper and Rowan or whatever. I mean, it kind of looked like they were gonna do that at Rumble. Do you remember? Like they looked at each other and then they pointed at Bray Wyatt and then they just attacked each other.
Yeah.
So,
what's the matter? You guys don't like Eric Rowan with like Dolph and Ryback? Does that not work? For you guys?
that's going to do nothing. That's not going to work for him.
It doesn't make any sense. He's like lost out there. Half the time they ignore him and shit. They're just holding each other's hands. He's like off to the side. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't see anything ever happening for him. I see Luke Harper eventually falling into that like barbarian role where he's a big guy. He comes out and he just gets his, his whole gimmick is that he's big, but he ends up getting his ass kicked every match anyway. So that could easily be him going forward. But I think they're both really talented. Luke Harper in particular. But singles champion, I don't see it happening.
If they don't fucking do something with him soon, they're just going to be. They'll be those utility kind of guys that just come in and get their ass kicked. That'll just be their role. I mean, because it's pretty clear to me who the guy is that came out of that. I mean, he's gonna be the guy. And
but at the same time, I think that those guys, all three of those guys, worked well together, and there was no real reason you had to break them up. I mean, Harper and Rowan could still be a tag team and still be with Bray, and I think they all help each other out, believe it or not,
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should be. I mean, you just look at them, the Wyatt family. I mean, look at their characters and stuff. Like those aren't Harper and Rowan aren't characters that are going to get over as anything. At least with the Shield, you could see, okay, well, these guys can kind of go off and do their own thing. But with a gimmick like that, like what else are they going to do? It's not. They've got to go back together. And I mean, again, like you said, there was never any reason or story. It's not like one of them turned on the other. It was just they came back and like, oh yeah, we're singles now. And And who was it? It was like Eric Rowan was all of a sudden like a face. Like it just didn't make it
for
was
no
just
reason. Yeah.
And he was also a genius. Remember, he was a genius for like one show.
Yeah.
He had an IQ of like 170 IQ or something for like one show.
Yeah, and he had a fascination with Renee Young for like a couple of episodes.
Yeah, and then they quickly glossed all that over, and that's gone by the wayside. So
something else though that they're going to have on this show is a confrontation with Triple H and Sting. Suppose they're going to set up some sort of a match at WrestleMania. Do you guys think that there's any possible way that this match could be? I'm sure it'll be okay, but for some reason I don't know. I always go back to like, do you remember the match? I think it was Triple H, and he had a couple matches at Mania that just sucked. Like I think one of them was with Randy Orton. And the other one, wasn't it Sheamus? Didn't he have a shitty match with Sheamus one year? I think Triple H is one of those guys that needs to be carried just a little bit. And I don't know if Sting can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's better than Taker because Taker and Sting would have been brutal.
Yeah.
It would have been slow.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. I mean, I'm hoping at least. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, I think Sting can still go. I saw him in TNA not too long ago, and he was in like a hardcore match with Bubba Ray, and he did fine. I mean, it was 3 years ago, but he actually did a lot better than you would think. So I'm hoping with all this time off, he has one more in him, or at least a couple more good matches in him.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, you think about all the people that they could have Sting go up against, and that's really the only fucking thing that makes any sense. I mean, the guys that are kind of like evenly matched together. I mean, Triple H has never been, in my opinion, or at least not for a long, long time, like a guy that's like, oh man, he's fucking amazing. Like he was never that guy.
Right.
I mean, he was a good wrestler, and he could have a good match, and depending on who you put him in there with, he would have a good match occasionally, but like, man, who the fuck are they going to put up against Sting? Like, who matches up with Sting?
Jim Cornette said it best. Triple H was the guy who worked with the guy. He wasn't the guy. He was the guy that worked with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he could have a good match if you had like the guy, but you had to have the guy. Now the question is Sting the guy? And I don't fucking think so. Not like right now.
Well, you gotta think. I mean, in my opinion, I've always been a Sting supporter, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know, 20 years ago, how good was Sting in the ring 20 years ago? I mean, he was average. You know, I just don't know. Maybe it'll be awesome. I don't know. But I would be surprised if that match was awesome. I think it can be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. If they can give us, a 20-minute back and forth, a lot of near falls kind of thing. You know, we see the Stinger splash. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be sort of a what's the word I'm looking for? A sentimental kind of match. Crap. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I think it'll be a good match.
Here's what I'm hoping will happen, because they still got Ric Flair in the back, right? Could they get Ric Flair to come down there and just fucking like nut punch Sting as part of like Evolution? You know what I mean?
He could turn on Sting one more time.
Yeah, just fuck him over like one more time, and then like he wins, like Triple H wins. That would be amazing.
Well, I definitely don't see Sting losing. But that imagine this. Think about this. Okay, let's say we have the Taker and Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt wins, and down from the rafters swoops Sting, and he's like, "I want some." And then Bray Wyatt beats Sting. The ultimate, the three sort of supernatural guys, and Bray Wyatt gets over on both of them.
Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't think Bray Wyatt's going to beat Undertaker.
He's got to.
I don't think he will. He does need to, because I feel like he's buried if he doesn't. But
he's got to.
I just don't see Taker losing 2 in a row. I just don't.
I think
he's got to.
If Taker loses again, it'll be next year at Mania, because that'll probably be his last match. If it's in Dallas, right?
I don't know. It's in Dallas. It's in Dallas. Yeah.
I've honestly got to imagine, man, that like the only reason to have that match again with Taker would be to erase the last match for him anyway. Like. And so I don't think he'll lose either. Like I don't see him doing it.
I can't see him even it's the Undertaker, yeah, but it's like a 65-year-old Undertaker versus a guy who's gonna be there in the future. He's gotta lose to Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's gotta go over. There's no way Bray Wyatt can lose this match. And if Bray Wyatt loses the match, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Well,
should have been Bray last.
It's WWE though, man.
Yeah.
I know. I can't see him doing that. I can't see him doing that. I just can't. I can't see him doing that.
I could see him doing it.
I
can't.
Maybe
I'm giving him too much credit. But I mean, I just can't imagine that. Can't imagine.
I'm disappointed.
If that were to happen, then I mean, clearly there's no. They're asleep at the wheel. Vince is asleep at the wheel.
I'm very disappointed though at the vignettes they're doing, just because they could be way more creative with them damn things. Mm-hmm. Like we were talking months ago, like I would do it. You remember when they brought Bray in for the first time? Those vignettes they were doing like out in the swamp or whatever. Mm-hmm. Take him to the desert or something like that, and have like the old Undertaker crucifix in the background and have him hanging from it or something. Do something cool like that. I just think like creatively all these writers are just shot or something. Like they're not really thinking at all
Well,
on this stuff.
I mean, like Triple H said, he says kayfabe's dead, but I think it's only dead because they let it be dead. So, for instance, if he was in a graveyard walking around, I'm searching for you, da-da-da, and all of a sudden, like, Taker's hand came up from under the ground, yeah, it's fake, but I think the people would go nuts for it still.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not real. He hasn't been buried for the last year, but, I mean, I think it still would work, and I think that they don't want to go down that path because they're like, oh, that's silly, stupid, no one's going to believe it, But in reality, I think it give it some meaning.
And it costs them no money to put Bray Wyatt in a dark room with a bunch of nails and a box. You know what I mean? It costs them nothing to do that. So
that's true, but it looks like every damn thing else they do.
Yeah,
That's the
but
only
I
problem.
don't think they care. I don't think they care.
And I think that
clearly
they're like,
they don't care.
I almost feel that they might people keep saying that Taker is not even 100% sure yet. So maybe all these vignettes are like they're trying to keep it somewhat, not sure yet because I don't even know if they know. They're assuming Taker, but they said that he hasn't signed on that line yet that he's going to do it. So maybe they're having it done this way until they officially know, and then they'll take it to a better.
I do agree with the idea though that there was a time when they would build shit up and they would have like almost film quality kind of vignettes and stuff.
Yeah.
But even for anybody, they don't do that anymore really. Like I don't give a damn if they know it's going to happen or not. Like they don't even attempt to do that stuff anymore.
I just think they're lazy. I mean, how much is it going to cost to just go to some graveyard and film something?
Yeah.
Like,
Nothing. You can have
do it.
You could have the camera guy's hand come up and with a friggin' Taker glove on out of the ground. It doesn't have to be Taker. Doesn't have to be there. If it's just a hand, Like it could be done. We could do it in a backyard, dude. As long as it's friggin' Bray's one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you guys remember? I mean, the barber shop where Shawn Michaels super kicked Marty Jannetty through the window, or do you remember when Jake the Snake put the Ultimate Warrior in that room full of snakes? I mean, that stuff is silly. But that stuff's awesome. You know what I mean?
But you just made the perfect point. That those things you just said that, and I remembered it exactly, and I can remember where I was when I saw it. So,
exactly.
As awesome as it was, it's memorable. I mean, who doesn't remember that stuff? I mean, if you were watching wrestling back then, I think those are like the only two times as a kid I cried watching wrestling. Was the barbershop window with the Rockers breaking up and Undertaker Ultimate Warrior getting locked in that casket.
Yeah.
You remember that stuff, and it's looking at it now, and you're like, oh, that thing with the Ultimate Warrior was silly, but
remember.
Yeah, I mean, I remember all of the Razor Ramon promos when he first came in. I can remember those clearly because they were so fucking awesome. But I think you talk about Jim Cornette. He did this thing recently where he was talking about he doesn't understand why anybody gives a fuck anymore because they effectively destroyed all of that. And it's all reality-based now, but they still expect people to care about something that everybody knows doesn't really exist and has no real bearing on anything, and at any time, the fans can control it. You know what I mean? They destroyed the entire idea of what wrestling was, and they have no idea how to rebuild it. And that's what they keep trying to do, but they have no idea. So I think it really...
10 years from now, are we going to be sitting here going, oh, man, do you remember when Bray Wyatt was building that casket in that dark room? Oh, man, I was pumped. No.
Right.
So.
Do you remember the story when it was around that time with the whole Jake Roberts? Remember when they kept doing the vignettes where, Jake had Warrior, digging that grave one week, and then he had, another one. Remember the one where he locked him in that room with all the snakes, and Warrior just started punting the snakes across the room? Remember that?
That's what I'm talking about. He was kicking live snakes. That was hilarious.
Yeah, they can't do that now.
Hilarious. Yeah, I mean the thing about the barbershop that it's not even so much the just the setup. It's Bobby Heenan's commentary. When he throws Marty Jannetty through that window, Bobby, and this, even when I watch this today, I laugh so freaking hard. Bobby Heenan goes, what an act of cowardice. Jannetty tried to dive out the window. I mean, that kills me, man. That kills me. And that makes that just totally memorable too. I mean, if they did that today, I mean, what would they like? You know, you'd hear Jerry Lawler do his little scream gasp thing, and you know, I mean, that'd be it. You know.
But I think because it's reality based now, like they have to be able to shift on a dime, like because essentially they're letting like what happens like by the fans control what they do. So it's like they don't set up anything anymore. They don't even try to do shit like that anymore because they got to be able to fucking like do whatever like immediately. So there's you won't see any promos like that. You won't really see any build ups like he was saying, like you won't, because they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. They've got no guarantee about any of this stuff, so you're not going to see any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, just think about all the great characters that, you know, wouldn't exist today in today's world, wrestling world. Brother Love, you know, you wouldn't have
Slick. I guarantee you that.
you know, Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer wouldn't be around today. There wouldn't be a Paul Bearer in wrestling today. You know, you wouldn't have, you know, the barbershop. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't have that awesome stuff today. I mean, that's one of the things. It's so flat. I mean, reality. And I mean, you said it. Everybody knows wrestling's fake. It's scripted. It's not real. So why try to bring, you know, too much a sense of realism into it when we all know, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like, it's like, okay, why the fuck are we going to, okay, the point of wrestling used to be...
Hey, who the fuck is that dude?
What's up?
Oh, shit.
Holy Lord.
I ain't seen you since SummerSlam, motherfucker. Where you been?
Better late than never, huh?
Jake the Snake locked him in that room full of snakes. He's been kicking...
He's been kicking
cobras around for the past 6 months.
Yeah. I actually do have snakes, so
yeah,
for pets.
Jake must have gave them to you.
Yeah.
He's got Damien.
No, but for Vince McMahon's
one
always going on about the WWE being entertainment based, though. Like, you would think that he'd want to be more theatrical with some of this stuff, like some of these backstage. Instead of doing all this stuff backstage, you know, especially the stuff with Undertaker, because the stuff, they've always kind of been more kayfabe for Undertaker anyway.
Right.
I just think that's if they're going to, maybe they don't know if they're going to go with it or not. Like you were saying, maybe he hasn't signed yet. But if they know for a fact that he's going to do that match, they should do those vignettes a little better than that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they're trying to force reality, a real world, let's say, but it's occupied by such caricatures as John Cena, and you know these characters that aren't real, close to real. You know that, like I said, they're caricatures. So I mean, you've broken your whole mold there of trying to instill realism, and then you've got John Cena coming out looking like a Cocoa Puff, and you know, and then you've got Golden Stardust coming out, and you've got, you know, Bray Wyatt building a casket. So I mean,
it is like they're stuck between the old era and the fucking Attitude Era, and like they don't know which way to go. You know, like they keep trying to do both of them at the same time or something, but they don't have any fucking idea of like which way to go with it.
Like no solid direction.
You have gimmicks, and then you don't have gimmicks. So there's like the gimmick guys and non-gimmick guys, but more or less the gimmick guys end up being like comedy almost. Mm-hmm. Like you got like Adam Rose, you got, you know, the Ascension, and you know they are doing gimmicks still, but it's weird because I think that they just don't know how to do them anymore.
It seems like it seems, or they just don't put anything behind it. Like the Ascension is completely fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Like they don't even. There's no point to it. There's
but
no build up.
They were the opposite in NXT though. You know, like in NXT they worked, but it seems like on Raw it's just, you know, I know it's what they're doing with them. It's just like it doesn't work. I mean, I hope they end up working out, but it's like, damn.
Why would you have them come out and their first thing is they say, "Oh, we're better than LOD and Demolition"? Like why did it didn't need to go there? Like it didn't even need to be brought up. Like they should have just came out and had a similar gimmick, and you know the fans probably would have chanted LOD for a while, but ignore it. Don't, you know, say it, like, because then it puts you in a weird category where it's like
they're definitely going to chant LOD if they give them red and black makeup and
Yeah.
ring attire and shit. I mean,
But
that's the
what I
thing.
mean. Why did they do that to begin with? It's like they didn't need that. They were like perfect without it, and then they put this silly makeup on, have these big dumb looking shoulder pads on. Like, why did they do that?
That's what I was gonna say too. I mean, they've the makeup, the outfits, they've made them ridiculous. As soon as people lay eyes on them, they're not going to take them seriously just because they look ridiculous. And then they get in the ring and go, "We're better than LOD and Demolition." You've totally destroyed these guys in in two sentences.
In
5 minutes.
I think in that first match they when I saw those guys walk out in that get up and shit, like the very first thing I thought was, what? They're fucked. Like that was it. Like that first match. Like that was it. And then that made it worse that they're calling out everybody, like every old tag team and everything. And it's just like
But come on, man, they beat the Outlaws.
Well, they're wrestling jobbers. I mean, legitimate jobbers. I've not seen jobbers in WWE in years, and they're wrestling jobbers.
Well, they're setting up the WrestleMania match versus the primetime players, though, right? And that's going to be the WrestleMania match.
But I wanted to mention one other awesome moment in wrestling history that we'll never see again in the new, Vince McMahon's new world of wrestling. Do you guys remember it? It involves Jake the Snake too.
Dude, I know what you're gonna say. I know it, and I was just gonna spit it out. It doesn't have to do with Earthquake, does it?
No. When he brought out Damien, and Damien bit Macho Man.
Macho Man, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That freaked the hell out of me as a kid. That freaked the hell out of me as a kid. That's something that they would never, ever, ever do today. I mean, that was awesome. That was awesome, and that freaked the hell out of me.
I remember exactly where I was when I saw that. Like, that's what's so fun about it.
You know something though, even like the gimmicks that really didn't work that well, but some of the stuff that they did, like the build up to them. Like I remember, this is funny because you guys probably don't remember this. It was an episode of Superstars. You remember, like, for weeks, there was like a voice coming in the PA for the Big Boss Man, right? I'm coming for you, Big Boss Man. All that shit. And finally, here come Nails out there and beat the shit out of the Boss Man. And Boss Man was gone for like 6 months or something. They don't do shit like that. No. They just don't. Like, even I know that didn't work.
Well, they don't
like,
build anything. That's the point. They don't build anything.
It's easy if you know a guy's going to be injured or something like that, or is going to be out for a little while. Put somebody else over. Have them get the shit beat out of them by whoever, and then when they come back, instant feud.
Right, but do you know what else was a cool one was? Do you guys remember how Earthquake debuted in the WWE? I thought that was awesome too.
Yeah, he was a fan or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like a fan, and like Dino Bravo kept doing the push-ups every week, and then he challenged Ultimate Warrior to a push-up contest, and then he said, could you do a push-up with somebody on your back? And he goes, yeah, I could do it with anybody on my back. And they picked Earthquake out of the crowd because he was like the fattest guy there, so they were like, I bet you can't do it with this guy on your back, and they brought him out, and Warrior couldn't do it, and then all of a sudden, like, that guy became a wrestler, dude, because he was like, Ultimate Warrior couldn't lift him up. So then he was a wrestler. So as silly as it was, it worked because he already came in with like a little bit of credibility because he hurt Ultimate Warrior's back, So
I can remember when he first started wrestling. Now, didn't he have like these turd brown like wrestling tights or something for a while?
Maybe I remember he had just the plain blue with nothing on him. But speaking of Earthquake, I don't know if you guys follow it at all, but it's pretty sick. They just released like a prototype picture of. They're releasing an Earthquake figure, a new figure. Did you guys see that?
No, really. That's cool.
So what's cool about it, dude, and what's crazy is it's like a special edition, and it comes with accessories, and it comes with Damien and the snake bag. And a lot of people probably look at that and say, this doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would he come with that? Well, I think it's like the most clever thing ever. Do you remember why he would have that?
From when he smashed
killed
Damien.
Like, that's so good. Like,
the bag's a little bloody too. It'd be cool.
Whoever decided to do that is so clever, man. That's perfect.
I want a Macho Man figure with Damien latched onto his arm and Macho going like. That's what I want.
Or Warrior with a
and
kickable leg.
Liz, and Liz on the outside going, "Oh my God!"
Well, probably though the most memorable one too was fucking Andre the Giant. Of any of the Damien stuff for me was probably that where he's got him in the ring. You know, he's caught up in the ring and throws the snake on him. He's holding on to it and shit, like struggling with it while he's holding on to it. Oh God!
The thing is though, is like it was really more of an entertainment program back then, in my opinion, because all this TV had to be written. Like we went to a Superstar taping back in like the early '90s, and they taped like 5 weeks of TV on that show.
Wow.
So, you know, it was really more planned out back then as opposed to now, where you've got 3 live hours every week, and odds are the night before the show's 9 times out of 10 is not even done.
Well, the Saturday night's main event I went to back in '89 was the same way, and we didn't even know it. We knew we were going to Saturday night's main event, but when we get there, it was literally like they taped 4 weeks of Superstars. Also, we saw the Brother Love show, like 2 or 3 of them. And you're right, though. I mean, they definitely planned it out, you know. And then you would get at the end of an episode what was coming up next week. You know, you kind of knew matches and you could anticipate it. Now it's like they don't even promote Brock Lesnar being on there, you know, and they wonder why ratings are down and everything. It's because they don't know what they're going to do. You know, they're kind of like doing what WCW did back in the day when they started failing, where they're just throwing stuff together at the last minute and not really having a plan. You know,
I think that's exactly fucking right. Like it just seems like that, and this is what happens though. I think this is what happens because when you're in the actual like planning, when there was, you know, the idea of that it was not fake and everything, you had one guy who had a big and you build up that feud.
No. Damien got him.
To be continued.
That damn cracker bottom internet.
Would it be funny if when he came back, it's like Jake standing there, holding Damien, stroking him, and like Aaron's in the background passed out.
So why do you guys think that they do not? I don't know. What do you think the reason is that they do things as they go? Like, why don't they work backwards? I don't understand if they're just worried about like injuries and what would happen if probably
that, and then also look at the Roman Reigns situation though. You know, things leak out. I think that's one thing since I've started watching wrestling again is the internet has really screwed up wrestling big time. I mean, it's made it almost not enjoyable anymore because you know everything's going to happen before it even happens, and even if you stay away from the dirt sheets, if you're online, you're still going to see it. I mean, it's on. You get on Yahoo News on the front page every day. There's updates of stuff that's going on in wrestling. I mean, that's what's really hurt. I think that's probably why they maybe do it this way.
That's probably exactly why.
Not that it's a good thing, but it's like, you know, look at the Roman Reigns situation. You know, I don't know.
I think even Jim Cornette said, you know, internet is what killed wrestling. So
yeah, it's really screwed it up in a lot of ways. I mean, it's great, but it's really screwed it up too.
Mm.
Did you guys? I come on late. Did you guys already talk about all the Fastlane stuff already?
Yeah, we were talking about.
Touched on it. I mean, if there's something else you guys like, what do you guys think? I guess with the main event, like, I think that's something we already mentioned. Like, how do you see that going?
I mean, I think it at this point it almost has to. Mania almost has to include Daniel Bryan because if it doesn't, he's fucked for Mania. I mean, he's totally screwed. So, and I think the same thing goes for Roman Reigns. He's screwed too if he doesn't win, because then what does he do? The only thing that Reigns could do is, you know, it'd be a big change. But if Reigns loses, you know, it would be smart to hit, you know, Rusev to beat Cena, and maybe Reigns beat Rusev at Mania. That would be the only thing I think that they could do with him to get him over. But at this point, I don't think that there's anything for any of them to do. It's like Sheamus is going to be like the last resort if one of them loses, and it's just like a stupid match that nobody really wants to see. So I think that it has to come to a no decision. It has to at this point.
Yeah,
and they actually
I kind of agree
chemistry,
too.
to be honest. Daniel Bryan and Reigns have good chemistry already. I feel like it's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing that match. What comes down. But I think the same thing. I think they're going to be forced into doing a triple threat, and I haven't really kept up with too many of the dirt sheets and stuff lately, so I don't know how much of this you guys probably already know about. But I was seeing something where JR was saying that he's pretty sure Lesnar is going to be sticking around, which means he could retain at Mania. So there was something I just saw about that just a little bit ago.
I mean, I don't think Bryan's winning Mania at all, but I think he could be in the match. I just don't think
Well, I think if they have Bryan in the match, you could have him win and then have Seth Rollins cash in on Bryan.
Yeah, I was just reading something before I jumped on here that they might have Rollins lose the cash in because of that whole shit that happened. But I don't know how true that is. That's like his punishment.
I think he's definitely going to get punished at some point, but I don't know if it'll be anytime soon. I mean, somebody that's that fucking stupid that does something like that, you've got to punish. I would think you'd have to punish him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's coming. I don't think that. I mean, like we were saying before. I mean, they've invested too much into him to punish him now, to take him off TV or to downgrade him or anything at this point. So I mean, cashing in and losing, that's a possibility. But then, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that makes him look pretty bad going forward, I think.
Yeah, it sucks because I feel like he's done a good job with the Money in the Bank, and to have him go this far and to lose, I think it kind of ruins all he's done with it, because he's done well with it.
Yeah.
I still think it'll be Reigns and Lesnar one-on-one. Reigns will win, but he'll take a beating. Rollins will come in, cash in, leave with the title, and then that will lead into the reset, the after WrestleMania reset, with those two guys feuding. That's what I think is going to happen.
It could, but I just think they're taking a huge risk if they do that. But I mean, they could. But do you think they'd put that on as the last match?
I think they've got to. I think it's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't, that almost is even shitting on it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll do Sting, Triple H, and then they'll do that for the closer.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird Mania, I think, this year, though. There's nothing really, even though, like I said, it'll be cool to see Sting in the ring again, but, I mean, there's nothing that's like a must-see on this show that so far, at least.
Have any of you guys heard how ticket sales are doing? I was wondering that today.
I haven't heard. I mean, I'm assuming they always do well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I actually loved Mania last year when I look back on it now, but yeah, I don't know what's this year. Like, I feel like it's nothing, like you said, Sting, that's great, but the main event, And then I don't know, Bray Wyatt, Taker. I mean, even still, it's Taker, but I don't know. I'm not into it yet. I'm not into that. I don't know what else anybody else does at this point.
It's their fault that we're not into that Bray Taker thing, because just those guys are so charismatic, especially Bray Wyatt, and how much he can do if you let him go. Like, if they need to be way more creative with that, and that could be a match where we would love to see it, if they do it right. But they keep doing these backstage vignettes in the dark and stuff with nails and all that.
Well, let's say Undertaker can't go. Let's say Undertaker can't go. Then what does Wyatt do? And how does all these stupid?
They'll probably say he was talking about. They'll probably say he was talking about Kane, and like Kane's mask has to come back on and all that shit. I bet. I think that's the only way they can do it. Did you see the thing I posted on the page where WWE put out and they said, who was he talking to? Did you read that?
I didn't see it.
It's WWE posted something that says, who's Bray Wyatt talking to? Undertaker, Kane, and instead of Sting, they wrote String.
String. That's the new guy they're introducing. That's the new guy they're introducing at Fastlane.
I'm like, if he's been talking about String this whole time, I'm gonna be pissed.
String, I didn't see that. That's awful.
I put it on the WrestleManiacs page. You can check it. WWE.com put it out. String.
This is String.
It's like a new guy.
It's a man called String.
The icon, String.
Do you guys think they're going to end up doing Undertaker and Sting next year as like a final send-off match for both of them?
They should.
Yeah. I was thinking possibly. Yeah. I think that'd be a great match.
If they do that, they should set it up for like a year ahead of time too, like they did with The Rock and Cena that time.
Yeah, it would make sense if they're both at Mania. Do something there this year to where it's like, oh man, it's going to happen for real now. You know.
Well, imagine Bray Wyatt beats Taker, and Taker's laying in the ring. Out appears Sting, helps him up, and I mean that's it. You know, there's a mutual respect there, and that sort of leads the way. Because I mean, you can't really, you can't build it. I don't know, because I mean, both guys are faces. Neither guy's going to turn heel for the other. So I mean, how they build that, it's not going to be the standard. I'm going to cut a promo on you, then you're going to come back with a recant promo, and blah blah blah. But I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys think that there's a chance though that Taker will lose again? I mean, as Pizzow seems to think that's definitely happening.
I can't see it not happening, man. I know. Granted, again, I said it before. Maybe I'm giving WWE way too much credit, but I just can't see them going, okay, Undertaker, he's 65 years old. He's got one, maybe two matches left in him. We're going to let him beat Bray Wyatt, who's the future. I just don't see that happening. I can't imagine they would do that. Even if this is his goal way, even if this is it for him, I just can't, because, I mean, what's Bray Wyatt do after that? I mean, that totally...
Well, that's the thing. I think if they really, they keep talking about building for the future, and if they really want to build for the future, Wyatt should win it. And I think, people would be surprised. But at the same time, if they're going to go the route of Undertaker and Sting next year, are they going to have Undertaker lose again, and then what are they going to do next year? It's like there's different ways. But, yeah, I think if they really want to build for the future, they should have Wyatt win. But, man, I just can't see him having Undertaker lose 2 years in a row. I don't. I don't know. I think Taker's going to probably win more than likely, but
who knows? If they would have worked backwards, and the last year would have never happened, and he would have won, and then Bray would have beat him finally this year, and then he could have fought Sting next year, and it made more sense, So if they would have worked backwards from that, then they might not be in this weird problem now.
I mean, they had the ultimate chance to have Undertaker undefeated against Sting. I mean, that would have been like we've always talked about. Yeah, it's not going to be in their heyday, but on paper and the fanboy and all of us like, oh my God, that would have been the ultimate. Now it's like it's kind of an afterthought. It'd still be cool, but it doesn't have that special appeal, that it could have had.
But does Sting want to do a match, be involved in a match where everybody knows he's going to lose at the end of it? Does he really want to be involved in that? And I mean, now if you throw him in a match with Undertaker now, you don't know, because I mean Undertaker's been beaten. It's over. It's done with. So I mean, there's a little more. If you threw him in with the streak intact, Undertaker's walking away, winning. You know that. And I can see Steve or Sting, whatever, Steve, whatever, being like, no, I don't want to sign and come in to lose. No, I don't want to do that. So
yeah.
Now there's a little more doubt there as to who can win now. So
especially if it ends up, if they tout it as like their last match, if they tout it as like both guys' last match or something, then it would really be like, wow, who is going to win that?
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, if they did that, who do you guys think that they would have go out?
Well, I think even if they did one of those draw matches where, they go for half an hour and it's just an awesome match, and I mean, they're both laying just dead in the middle of the ring, and the ref calls it. I think the fans would be fine with that.
Yeah.
I think the fans would be fine with that.
Have all
and
the guys
they
come
get
out
up
the
and
ring or something big, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Big
like they hug each Exactly. They hug each other, and they hold each other's hands up. I think that'd be perfect. Really, I think that'd be perfect.
I mean, I guess it all depends on what's going on at the time, because I'm sure Vince will be like, WCW is not beating WWE, so there's no way
right.
Sting will go over in his last match against Taker. But, if the Triple H is running it at that time, then things could change, It could go either way, But, I mean, it's their own fault. If they did time limit matches like they used to, then they could have went to a full time limit draw and it would have made sense. But, you can't add that as a stipulation now because then it would be too obvious.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would go into a double draw at that point.
Just a little bit off topic, though. I just wanted to know if you guys happened to see the cover of Muscle and Fitness with Vince McMahon on the cover.
I was going to mention that too.
That can't be really what he looks like under there. That's got to be photoshopped. He can't look like that still. There's no way.
Yeah, I was thinking, did they Photoshop that, or is he on that? What in the fuck is he on?
Maybe it's DDP Yoga. It's DDP Yoga, man.
DDP Yoga.
I mean,
he's been working out with The Rock.
Like under there, why is he not out on TV with a tank top on every week? I mean, if I was 69 years old and I looked like that, I would be out on TV with a tank top on, flaunting that around. I mean, obviously he's juiced to the gills, but still, it's pretty impressive to see a 69-year-old guy that looks like that, regardless. So I think that thing is pretty damn photoshopped, to be honest with you. It has to be, I think. 69 to look like that? I mean, you're at 69, your body, I don't even think you get to that point.
You should start shriveling up by that age.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ultimate Warrior. I mean, think about how he went through his whole life, and then when you watch the documentary on him at Mania, you look at him and you're like, look, I don't know if he looks good under that jacket, where 2 years ago he was on a YouTube show and he was still huge. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on under Vince's
Vince
suit
has still
there.
got the veins popping out and everything. It's it didn't look very realistic,
It actually looked like his head on somebody else's body, really. That's what I thought it looked like.
It's his head on my body.
Well, it didn't even look like his build though. Like when you think of Vince's build, when you did see him big, it didn't even look like the build of his body.
Yeah, this.
Maybe
he looks more cut now than he did when he was huge. I feel like he looks more like he's ready to step on a bodybuilding stage than he did when he was big. So I don't know what's going on there. I
just kind of saw that and I was like, what the fuck, really?
Did any? And this is even further off topic. Did any of you guys see the Vince Russo interview with China where she claimed that Triple H physically abused her and stuff?
We were talking about that earlier, actually.
I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm about halfway through right now. I don't know what you guys talked about earlier. I liked it. I'm liking it so far, but again, it's tough to really know if she's telling the truth or not. But I will tell you this. This is the best I've probably seen her since she left WWE. I mean, she seems more with it now. She seems more coherent. She looks a hell of a lot better. I also think Vince Russo is definitely trying to pry shit out of her and kind of not pry out of her, but I almost feel like he's trying to make her see a certain side of a story that maybe she doesn't really want to see.
You know something though, when you watch Vince Russo,
I'm sure he is.
he's like a asshole trying to pretend like he's being nice. That's
right.
what comes across with me.
It's so obvious too.
Yeah.
He's like that kid that's he doesn't like another kid and he tries to convince you not to like him either and be your friend. You know what I mean? That's how I definitely took it for sure.
You know what though, man? At the end of the day, and we were talking about this too. Triple H, like what he said as far as what she did. Jimmy Snuka is in the Hall of Fame, and that motherfucker supposedly strangled or something, killed his girlfriend, never got in trouble for it. Mike Tyson's in the Hall of Fame. He raped a woman.
Bit off somebody's ear.
I don't get. Yeah, bit off.
Holyfield.
It's ridiculous, just that argument. But the fact that he had to basically go and tell people, she did porno and stuff like that, I can understand from her perspective. She had to move to frickin' Japan to get employment anywhere because of all the stuff that she did in her past.
Yes, she's teaching.
And now to bring that back
now.
up,
I think.
English.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it to you guys before, but I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the show. You guys know she has a YouTube channel. Did you? I don't know. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Tokyo, China, and she's. That's the thing. Like I'm subscribed. I very rarely watch anything. She's talking health food stuff a lot. She won't bring up wrestling. But I mean, what I've seen, yeah, she seems like she's really together and in a good place, which is good. But she uploads videos all the time on there.
I should check it out. But I kind of, I do feel bad for her, even though she did stupid shit. I mean, she did get put in a shit situation. I mean, yeah, I do feel bad, and I do think that she deserved to get credit for what she did. I'm sure she probably just made certain choices because she didn't know what else to do to make money at that point. And the worst thing was when they let her go, it was kind of like they said they were going to re-sign her, and then they let her go randomly, and then she didn't have a lot of money, and they took her name, and that's true too. Without her name, what could she do? And I think that wasn't fair, especially because she was let go due to the circumstance. That they should have just said, "Here, take your name. Good luck. We hope you can make it outside of wrestling," because they knew that she wasn't going to ever come back. So why did they need her name for it? What did they do?
Yeah, and I think Triple H even bringing up the porn thing. I mean, that's totally just him. Nobody there wants her. Bottom line, nobody there wants her. There's too much. There's just too much bad blood, and yeah. So her doing Playboy under WWE's advice is fine, but. Anyway, she's been gone for a long freaking time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because there was a big period where it didn't launch. But
so what's funny is I was listening to it. Did you guys finish it? I haven't finished it yet. So have you guys already finished the interview?
No. I checked it all.
I haven't heard it at all yet. I'll check it out.
What I'm trying to figure out now is kind of I'm kind of remembering her career. They went through the thing where her and Triple H joined the corporation together. Then she did her own thing. Remember, she was the women's champion, but she was kind of by herself. Then she was kind of with Billy Gunn for a little while. And I'm just trying to remember I guess as soon as she found out about Stephanie and Triple H is she was fired the next day. So I'm assuming everything that she did in her singles run, her and Triple H were still technically together, even though.
I think what had happened is
trying to figure it out.
They told her to go home, I believe, and she was not technically fired for another 5 or 6 months, but they never brought her back on TV after she found out about it.
Right, so that's what's interesting.
What do we do?
Right, so during that whole run where she was and when she was feuding with Right to Censor and all that stuff, it was towards the end where she was women's champion.
Mm-hmm.
So she was technically dating Triple H then. They were engaged then.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still doing that angle with Stephanie, and she still had no idea that anything was going on, I assume, because she was done as soon as she found out. So, which is pretty crazy to me that it was still that long that she didn't know that something was going on. It was a year that they were doing shit behind her back, it assumes.
Well, and I mean, they're not the only people who. We're in love triangles like that in WWE. I mean, that's happened many, many times. So, I mean, that's, I don't know. I kind of, she was a sympathetic character kind of at one point. She made bad decisions. I don't think she's credible. But.
Well, the thing is, though, my issue is they brought her up. It wasn't her. We hadn't heard a damn thing from her in 3 years, Triple H is the one that brought her up. Or, I mean, Stone Cold brought her up, and that's the first of her. Yeah. So I think in this case, she probably made some shit up in the past, and was fucked up, and made poor decisions and everything else. But I think that now they should just leave her alone, and let her exist over there, and she obviously is never going to be back in WWE, so just let it go rather than Triple H. After all the shit that happened, regardless, we know that she was released, Triple H cheated on her with the boss, you know, and that she lost her job because of that. Basically, Stephanie, you know. So that's the facts right there. You know,
I think Stephanie is the reason she's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's Stephanie before anything else. You know, regardless of what she's done, I mean, why not have her come out one more time and just get the fans to at least see the fans still appreciate what she did for wrestling? I mean, what is that going to hurt anybody? You know, I mean, unless they're afraid she's going to say something on the mic, but you would think that she'd be a little bit more, you know, classy than that. It seemed to me, so for what I listened to so far, is I don't know if things have changed, but it almost seems like she has the biggest issue with Sean Waltman than she has with anybody else at this point. I mean, maybe more stuff was said later on in the interview, but that's what I'm getting out of it, is that, like, it seems like that's more of her problem at this point than Triple H is, or Stephanie at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know, Wes, if it changed up as it went on. But.
No, from what I heard, even when she was talking about the abuse, the alleged abuse by Triple H, I mean, she brought up Sean countless times. So I mean, and I mean, you know, another thing I think is funny is, I mean, she's spoken for years about the abuse that she allegedly sustained at the hands of him, but I'd never before heard anything about Triple H or anybody else. It was always Sean Waltman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you did they ever get into, and I was hoping I heard this, but did they ever explain how her and Sean Waltman got together in the first place? Did they talk about that at all?
If they did, I've not gotten that far into it.
I don't think they did.
Because, I mean, think about that situation. They let her go. The WWE's like, let's distance ourselves from China. She never heard from Triple H again. And then one of his buddies just comes out of nowhere and starts dating her, and then does like a porn. It just seems like a wicked, shady situation. And I'm just curious, like, where did he come from? You know, like, I'm sure Triple H wasn't like, go hang out with China and date her and shit. Like, I'm sure that he wasn't cool with that, because everybody just wanted to kind of get away from her. And it's like, where did he come from? Like, how did that happen? You know, which is weird. Like, I was hoping they would kind of talk about, like, how did she end up with him after leaving? You know.
I don't think they mentioned that, though.
What? They didn't talk about that at all? Them two?
I don't recall that, to be honest. I mean, she does talk about just basically Sean Waltman's using every substance under the sun. That. You know, she mentioned that he was like a big time, and she admits to it too, that she was like alcoholic and she tried a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think, like, Triple H, he could have, all the stuff that's happened between them, he could have just taken the high road and just say, like, what Vince was saying, Vince Russo was saying, just say, you know, never say never in the wrestling business, and that was all he had to say.
That's really it. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, because he did, you know, say it in the nicest possible way and tiptoe around it, but still, even what he said, he didn't really have to even say that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
About the kid logging in or something and seeing stuff online. If he looked up China, he didn't even have to go that far.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of these wrestlers, you can look this shit up. I mean, if you look up Lana, you can, and trust me, you can see it, because I've seen some nude photos of Lana out there. They exist.
Yeah, I mean, you could see X-Pac just as easy as you could see China.
Yeah. You know.
Or you can get in a strip show with Sunny now. Skype
true.
Strip show.
She's a Hall of Famer.
Did you guys check out NXT tonight? I just turned it on before I hopped on. Did you guys see it?
No, I'm gonna watch it though.
Dude, it was like, it's kind of on over here, like on mute, but it's pretty nasty, some of the stuff that's happening.
I heard they're supposed to have something about where the screen was cutting out. I saw some type of little blurb about that, something like whoever's interfering.
There's some returns tonight too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out a little later. Have a lot of free time to do that since I'm still snowed in.
Yeah, and my son's got a 2-hour delay tomorrow. That's why I was able to jump in here and stay up a little later tonight. So I got to stay home with him in the morning.
Triple H is going to give Samoa Joe an NXT tryout.
Is he really?
Yeah, they just posted it today.
Seriously?
But they don't know but Samoa Joe hasn't accepted, but he has left TNA.
Well, I think everybody's leaving TNA. I mean, if you were making any type of decent amount of money there, Like, they just can't afford you anymore. I mean, and it may help them in the long run, too, because, I mean, they can get some young guys in there, and, I mean, who knows? I think TNA is kind of a sinking ship, but I'm hoping they, you know, I don't know how, but...
Well, have Kurt Angle, at least.
Well, yeah, you know what sucks, though, too? Like, and it has to do with just, you know, not having a top brand like WCW is I kind of miss the whole... You know, why wouldn't, you know, Samoa Joe, I mean, I know a lot of people might not know who he is, but, you know, I think it would be more interesting if all of a sudden he's in the front row at Raw and jumps in and attacks somebody than having to go through developmental, and then everybody's like, okay, Samoa Joe's here, and then when is he going to get put on the main roster? Like, that element of surprise with, like, big names is, like, gone, because they don't let anybody come on the big show until they go through NXT, so... You know, that kind of sucks. Like, I would have loved to see AJ Styles just pop up on Raw one day and everybody be shocked, like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy's here. But instead, they would have probably been like, oh, you need X amount of months in NXT, then everybody gets to see him, and then it's not really a big surprise anymore, you know, on the big stage. You know, I kind of miss that whole thing where WCW guys would just show up. Like, remember when the Radicals and Benoit and all them were sitting in the audience? Like, that was great.
Yeah.
Or Jericho just showing up on Raw, like... It's not like that anymore, and I don't know if it's because TNA is not considered a big enough brand, or if it's just because the WWE acts like their talent sucks. I mean, I'm sure Kurt Angle would come right out, but more or less, I don't know if they don't think that any talent they have is a big enough name to make any sense.
I think that's probably more it. You know, probably is.
You know, but that's kind of the shit that I'm like, kind of, you know, it kind of sucks because the element of surprise is just like gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're down for some reason now. They're just stuck with that formula. Like, they want to have their guys in developmental, whoever it is. It doesn't matter if you've gotten, you know, 10 years experience in Japan or whatever. You still got to go to NXT, which is kind of stupid. But.
How long do you guys think it's going to be?
NXT, he's like 38 years old. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. He doesn't have a lot of time left to hang out NXT for a couple of years.
How long do you think it's going to be before, like, Kevin Owens gets to the main rosters? I think they're fast-tracking him.
Yeah, sure. He'll be up fast, and I think Balor's going to be fast. They'll both be in Mania next year, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. I think Owens I think Owens probably before the end of the year, but maybe save him for next year. But, yeah, I just think that he's catching on so quick, and I was hearing that his merchandise was selling really well. So, Vince is seeing those dollar signs already.
You know what, though? With his style, who in the hell's going to work with him?
Yeah.
I would think him and Cena would be a great match at, like, a Mania. Like, I feel like I just feel like they'd do really good together. I don't know why. I just hope they don't change. They try to change these guys when they come up. Like, Kevin Owens doesn't need a gimmick. He doesn't need to be a character. He's kind of like a Brock in a sense, and he wears a T-shirt. He's more of like, instead of a MMA guy, he's like a Street Fighter kind of. Like, they need to keep him that just rough Street Fighter type gimmick.
Yeah, the thing is, I hadn't seen a lot, really anything of him until NXT, but I went back and started watching some stuff. The thing I like about him, man, is how he can move, and he's just not a big, powerful guy. Like, he does some really unique stuff, and like he's like a Vader or something, I mean, he can really get around. I think that's why he's going to do really well,
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think, like, to be honest, I think Adrian Neville is going to be the one that's stuck in NXT the longest, because I don't know what you do with him. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, too, because he's so awesome.
Yeah, I see him as one of those guys that's
up there, and Zayn, Balor, and Kevin Owens are definites. And as far as everybody else, like, I think you're going to see Kalisto in the main roster before you see Neville up there.
I think Baron Corbin will be up there pretty soon too, because he's just got that look that they like,
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel bad for Neville because I don't know what you do with him.
I think he could be one of those guys that could be kind of a career NXT guy and also train some of the younger guys too, and just always have a job there. He reminds me a lot of Jerry Lynn, I think, in old ECW, if you guys remember him.
Yeah. And what's funny too that you say that is, when you look at all the people that are working for the WWE backstage, it's so funny because it's the people that you would never have guessed, like Jamie Noble, Joey Mercury. Like, I think Norman Smiley is like a trainer down in NXT. You know, like Billy Kidman. You know, it's like, why are they all employed still? And then, like, you got, like, guys that were bigger name guys that are, like, nowhere to be found. Like, you know, what is it about those guys that would just, like, you know, we're going to keep them around. They're good for, like, the back. Which you could say something like an Adrian Neville, you know, or, you know, it's just funny to me that those are the guys that are still employed by the company, and you would have never thought that Billy Kidman would still have a job, you know, in the company. It's just funny how they choose what guys they want to keep around in the back for agents or, you know, people to train the talent. It's just interesting the guys that they had chosen that were never really big stars for the company.
Yeah. Like, what's their story, how that happened, yeah.
Right, you know.
It's going to be really interesting, though, to see just who, because I think a lot of these guys, like you were saying, you know, Sami Zayn, you've got Finn Balor, all those guys like that are going to be coming up pretty soon, I would say. I would say after Mania, some of those guys are going to be up there. Who's next in NXT? I mean, that's the thing that's going to keep it interesting. It's almost like, you know, college football or college basketball or something like that. Like, who are they going to get? Who's the next group of young guys to keep that show going? Because I think it is the most interesting, entertaining show they've got.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to start signing people. If you watch tonight, there's a new guy that comes out, and there's someone else that comes out that you're like, he's in NXT now? You know, and it's like, I don't know how they're going to work NXT, if it's going to stay that rookie league, or they're going to start bringing some veterans in there too and kind of have it like it's kind of its own brand in a sense. Because when you watch tonight, you're going to see people and you're going to be like, what the heck? Why did he come on here?
Well, I think I might be spoiling. I don't know, but I heard Curtis Axel was going to be going on NXT. I don't know if
he's gonna be on there, but
I heard he was going to be doing something there, which that makes sense for him because he's not doing shit.
Well, Emma's back down. Emma went back down, so she's back down.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out tonight. It's pretty cool.
Well, she'll actually get a wrestle again, so that's good.
Right. Yeah, because Charlotte will be up too very soon.
Yeah.
Well, guys, anything else you guys want to mention? I know Fastlane. We'll probably do a post show for Fastlane coming up on Sunday. I think it'll be a glorified Monday Night Raw. Not really looking forward to it too much, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the main event at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. But I have nothing else to say. I mean, I don't know if you guys talked about NXT, but they put on a good show last week. So
yes, I CK, I agree with what you said on the Dead Pit show. It was good, but it was probably the least of the favorites out of all those so far. Like, it's still really good, but it was probably the least special event show that I liked. I'm with you on that. I thought so
too, and I knew, like, after I think it was the show before that R Evolution show, I was like, there's no way these shows can keep getting better. I mean, eventually they're going to have an off show.
Yeah,
and even not like it was bad, but
it's even that it wasn't even an off show. It just wasn't. You know, all the other ones were like, oh my god, you know, and got everybody talking. It was still really good show, good matches, but not quite to the level of the other ones. But still, you know, NXT is just definitely doing some good things right now.
Do you guys know? Are they going to do the 2-hour specials? Is that like every other month now, or what?
Yeah. So basically, the way it should be. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why some of those matches seem important, because they have enough time to build them right, and not just, you know, we got to get this match in and out in a month and then do something different, you know, or have another rematch for. So I love the 2-month spurt. I wish the WWE still.
They should. I mean, man, seriously, like, how many of those named shows are actually, you know, going to get themselves for the network anyway? I mean, you've got SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, Money in the Bank at most. What's the other one that people really? I mean, there might be one other one that people like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Extreme Rules, and that's about it, maybe.
Yeah. So you could do 6 of those shows, and maybe do like a Saturday night's main event or something like that, like a 2-hour show.
I agree, especially because it's all on the network now, anyways. Like, why do you don't need it? You know, you don't need some of those shows anymore. Just it's all on a. If everybody's paying pretty much $9.99, then what do you know? Anyway, what does it make a difference?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
I hope that changes eventually. You know, I feel like they're trying a lot of stuff with NXT for the future. So, you know, and seeing how it goes there, and even like little things. Like, did you see their aprons now all digitalized?
Yeah.
That's cool,
Yeah.
and I think that's definitely something that's probably going to happen because I'm sure they don't feel like switching up the aprons all the time and getting all new ones made when you can just put it on a board, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard. I think Meltzer said that's something that's kind of like a prototype that they're testing right now, and that's going to move up to Raw and SmackDown and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, what's crazy too? I was watching like old episodes of Monday Night Raw on the network. Like they've got some from like 2008, 2009. They have not changed that set at all since they moved to HD. I think in 2008. Ish. It's the same damn set.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm sure they'll be changing that at some point, you would think. I mean, of course, they changed the logos and stuff like that around, but it's essentially like all that light board and all the screen and stuff. I guess they spent a shit ton of money on that. That's why they're still using it or something.
I'm sure, yeah. It's probably millions, yeah.
But I was surprised. I didn't remember. I was like, that's the same damn set.
Mm-hmm.
They're still using it. So. Anyway, guys, though, it's getting kind of late, and some of you guys, I'm going to be snowed in tomorrow, so I might do another fucking show tomorrow if but I appreciate you guys sitting in, and Uncle Bill and Pizzal must have bowed out or something, but yeah, hopefully, yeah, Jason, I haven't had a chance to talk to you on here in a long time, so hopefully you can join us again. Maybe on the post show this weekend.
Yeah, man. The thing is with that, the reason why, you know I mentioned, you guys have mentioned to everybody watching too, is it's just so late for me, man. Because having to be at work at 6 in the morning on Mondays, you know, if I stay up till 12:30, even I'm like, it's brutally hard. That's what makes it tough. And when it's a show that's just like, you know, I barely made it through the show. Do I really want to talk about it too? You know, it's where it kind of. Now, if it's
the show
really
usually
good,
puts you to sleep, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I try every show. I'm gonna, you know, I try to get in, but it's like, man, I can't do it. I'm too damn tired. I get to work at 6 in the morning, get up at 5. It's like, I'm gonna try. We'll see. Fastlane, not making any promises, but we'll see.
Or anything, but.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I might be up for it. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, it's been fun to talk with you guys again on here. It's been a long ass time.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
But, yeah, thank you guys again, and I guess we'll see everybody on Sunday night. We'll do, like, the post-show for Raw, Fastlane, whatever you want to call it.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right, you guys have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
All right, take care.
Adios.